Rumination. What is rumination? Has your head ever been filled with one single thought or a string of thoughts that just keep repeating over and over and over again? Well, this process of continuously thinking about the same thoughts, which also tend to be sad or dark, is called rumination. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 tips you can do to help you combat your ruminating. A habit of rumination can be dangerous to your mental health as it can prolong or intensify depression as well as impair your ability to think and process emotions. It may also cause you to feel isolated and in reality also push people away from you. What causes ruminating? People ruminate for a variety of reasons. Some common reasons of rumination include belief that by ruminating you'll gain insight into your life or a problem. Having a history of emotional or physical trauma, I can relate to that. Facing ongoing stressors that can't be controlled. It is also common in people who possess certain personality characteristics, which include perfectionism, neuroticism, and an excessive focus on one's relationship with others. You might also have a tendency to over-evaluate your relationships with others so much that you'll make a large personal sacrifice to maintain your relationships even if they're not working for you. So, how do we address these thoughts? Once you get stuck in a ruminating thought cycle, it can be hard to get out of it. If you do enter a cycle of such thoughts, it's important to stop them as quickly as possible to prevent them from becoming more intense. As when a ball is rolling down a hill, it's easier to stop the ruminating thoughts when they first start rolling and have less speed than when they gather speed over time. What can you do to stop these obsessive thoughts from running through your mind? Here are some tips you can try to do when experiencing the same thoughts over and over and the feeling of swirling occurs. Number one, you can distract yourself. When you realize you're starting to ruminate, finding a distraction can break your thought cycle. Look around you quickly, choose something else to do, and don't give it a second thought. Consider calling a friend, loved one, family member, doing chores around your house, watching a movie, drawing a picture, reading, writing, walking around your neighborhood, listening to music. All those things help in distracting yourself. Number two, plan to take action. Instead of repeating the same negative thought over and over again, take that thought and make a plan to take action towards it. In your head, you can outline each step that you need to take to address the problem, or you can write it down on a piece of paper, whichever one is more comfortable for you. Be specific as possible and also realistic with your expectations. Doing this will disrupt your ruminating. It'll also help you move forward in the attempt to get a negative thought out of your head once and for all. Now we can take action. Once you've outlined your plan of action to address your ruminating thoughts, take one small step at a time to address the issue. You know, like how Dory says, just keep swimming? Just keep swimming. One foot in front of the other. Refer to the plan you've made to solve the problem you've been obsessing over. Move forward with each step slowly and incrementally until your mind is put at ease. Question your thoughts. We often ruminate when we think we've made a major mistake or when something traumatic has happened to us that we feel responsible for. If you start ruminating on a troubling thought, try putting your repetitive thought in perspective. Thinking about how your troubling thought might not be accurate may help you to stop ruminating because you realize the thought makes a little sense. Readjust your life goals. Perfectionism and unrealistic goal setting can lead to rumination. If you set goals that are unrealistic, you may start to focus on why and how you haven't reached a goal or what you should do to make sure it gets done. Setting more realistic goals that you're capable of achieving can reduce the risk of overthinking your own actions. Sometimes you just have to boost your self-esteem. Having many sources of self-esteem is important for keeping you in a better mood and reducing your risk of rumination. If you only have a few points of pride in your life, such as a house or a child, you may lose your self-esteem if you sell your house or if your child moves away. The more sources of self-esteem you have, the smaller risk that you will fixate on your perceived shortcomings. Number 7, try meditation. Meditating can reduce rumination because it involves clearing your mind to arrive at an emotionally calm state. When you find yourself with a repeating loop of thoughts in your mind, seek out a quiet place, sit down, breathe deeply, and focus on nothing but breathing. Understanding your triggers. Each time you find yourself ruminating, have a mental note of the situation you're in. This includes where you are, what time of day it is, who you're around if anyone is around, and what you've been doing all day. It's always good to log this stuff. Developing ways to avoid or manage these triggers can help you reduce your rumination as a whole. Number 9, talk to a friend if you have any friends to talk to. Talk to someone supportive, maybe a loved one too. Ruminating thoughts can make you feel isolated. Talking about your thoughts with a friend who can offer an outside perspective may help you break that cycle. Be sure you choose to speak with a friend who can give you that perspective rather than ruminate with you. Now, our last point, try therapy. I can vouch for this one too. Therapy helps a lot of people in many different ways. If your ruminating thoughts take over your life, you may want to consider therapy. A therapist can help you identify why you're ruminating and how to address the problems at their core. Now let's talk about lifestyle changes. If you're a long-time ruminator who wants to bring an end to your repetitive negative thoughts, here are some simple things that you can do to help you do that. Be proactive in trying to solve your problems. First, identify your problems in your life, and then start taking actions to solve your problems one step at a time. Set your own expectations. Negative ruminating thoughts can creep in when we question our self-worth. Praise yourself for your success and forgive yourself for your mistakes. Constantly work on building your self-esteem by taking care of yourself and doing things you enjoy and things that you excel at. Create a support system. Having friends and family members, and maybe even a therapist, any of whom you can call on for help at any time, really, when something goes wrong, or when you're having a bad day, is very important. These special people may distract you from your ruminating thoughts, and also they're most likely to help you boost your self-esteem as a whole. To wrap up our video, it's possible to stop ruminating. Rumination is a toxic thought cycle linked to depression and associated with trauma and low self-esteem. If you're a ruminator, it's important to know how to stop your thought cycle in its tracks before it spirals out of control. It's also very important to be proactive and to take steps to prevent you from ruminating in the first place. With awareness and some lifestyle changes, it's possible to free yourself from ruminating thoughts. With that being said, I'm a pretty toxic ruminator as a whole. I've tried to work on my rumination, but it takes time. It depends. I thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I'll see you in the next one.